And we're live. Welcome back, everyone.
Hey-o.
Pew, 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 pew. How are we
Hey.
doing? I think I've got some cheers here. What's up?
Live for a limited time until YouTube takes our
Till
videos down
YouTube
again.
takes our videos
Oh,
down
no.
again. What's up, everyone? We'll do some live introductions here just to give everyone a format. We're doing this live so you guys can catch everything. You'll see it all. We're posting it all on YouTube. But what we're going to do from this live video is we'll edit it down to just the meat and potatoes, basically, for the claims, for those who don't have the whole time to watch the whole live stream, or for those who aren't interested in the live album, right? And you just want the studio recording, we'll have that for you, right? So make sure to follow us on YouTube until we get banned, and then we'll go to a different platform. So in the meantime, if you want to make sure, if you care enough to follow that, we do have a Twitter, which we're fairly positive we won't get banned from, due to new ownership.
Isn't it X now?
Yeah,
What
X.
do you do here? I don't know. Is it?
I
is it
mean-
still
Dead name
closed?
Twitter.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, dude. Someone on our Discord typed in had a link to x.com, and I clicked X, and then it redirected me to Twitter. So dude, I don't know. I don't know. I'm definitely not
Well,
dead
just
naming
because
it.
you-
Sorry, X. Yeah. And I don't understand the colloquialism. I'm sorry, if I send out what used to be called a tweet, am I sending out an X? Because that's a pretty ball. Yeah, look at all these X's I have. Or am I gonna be super bitter? Oh,
yeah.
my best X got 1,000 likes. That sounds weird. Anyway, what else sounds weird is what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said on the Joe Rogan podcast, episode 1999. I just realized we didn't tweet that we're going live. Or sorry, we didn't X that we're going live.
Should do that.
We should. Does anyone want to?
I don't know if I have access.
I have access, but it would be. I'm already sharing my screen. This is the definitely parts that we'll be editing out for the meat and potatoes. 10-minute bite-sized episodes.
I'll do the tweet quick.
All right, you do the tweet.
I'll figure
Let's
it out.
let's go ahead and we'll get into it. Thank you so much, Tom. I appreciate it. Patrick, are you ready to do some fact finding?
Hell yeah.
Tom, are you ready to do some fact finding?
The second I'm done with this tweet,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna do an intro for the meat and potatoes episode. So bear with us here. I appreciate it, guys. Welcome back. I appreciate you so much for joining us today. I've got Patrick here to the left, Tom with here to the right, and we are fact checking Robert F. Kennedy Jr. what he said on the Joe Rogan Experience, episode 1999. He said some crazy things. To which we're just gonna have to fact check, right? Because I don't know. I guess if you offer someone $2.5 million to come on the air and fact check them, right? If 1 + 1 = 3, right? And you offer someone $2.5 million to come on the air and prove them wrong, and they don't want to do that. Well, fine. I'm just gonna have to roll up my sleeves and do it myself, right?
So here we are.
So here we are. I'm not doing it alone. I've
Can't
got
wait for
Patrick.
that.
How are we doing today,
All right.
Patrick?
Pretty good.
Are you ready to dive into this? I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I know
Claim
Tom.
5 and 6.
Yeah, claims 5 and 6. So this is a controversial one, but actually not really. 2000, his claim, which we'll just go ahead and insert for the other. Oh, there goes my. We'll just do this for the edit here. All right, so for claims 5 and 6, we'll go ahead and include it now. We just kind of lump the claims together. We have a video for claims 1 through 5 if you want to see what happened there, the fishtail end of that one. But let's go ahead and talk about claim 6 here. 2003, FDA and the National Academy of Science published a 5-year study showing every freshwater fish has dangerous levels of mercury. So we looked into this. We're going to do some more research here because that's what we're doing. We're researching it live. But from what we could find, this study does not exist. However, we did find something else. If we look here, and Patrick was so kind to do a lot of the research for us ahead of time. We're going to go through all the research, go through all the sources. But one source I found, Patrick, that I thought you might be interested in is this right here, talking about a 2009 EPA mercury study that collected fish from 500 randomly selected U.S. lakes and reservoirs. Mercury, as well as PCBs, were detected in every fish sample from all 500 lakes and reservoirs. 49% of the samples had mercury concentrations exceeding the EPA's human health screening value of 0.3 parts per million. Okay? So just off the bat, this is a false claim. And we'll do a Google search. If one of you guys want to Google real fast, look up the 2003 FDA study to show it's not there. Right? So, but I've lost sleep over this. I've had lots of thoughts about it. One, is 500 reservoirs enough? Because I was thinking, is that enough? Like, some people are going to be like, that's not enough. But I think that's enough, right? Like, because where do you drop the line, right? Like, if this study...
was it only reservoirs?
Lakes and reservoirs.
Lakes and reservoirs.
Yeah. But, like, so if this was 100 lakes, you'd be like, well, that's not enough. All right, fine, double it. Now, we're studying 200 lakes, all the fish in there. Well, is that really a large enough sample size? All right, we'll double it again to 400, right? Like, is that enough? Like, 500 is a lot of lakes and reservoirs. And if it's 100% batting average at 500 lakes and reservoirs, like, that's a pretty health. So, like, that's something I've been struggling with, is, like, how many lakes is enough to, like, kind of get away, say it. But, like, you know, is 100 enough? 100's a lot, but then we doubled it, and, like, 500 is more than 400, right? So, like, I feel like that's a lot, personally.
Where's the EPA study that you were talking about?
So...
Can you... Okay, here we go.
If we click on it here, it says this study, this webpage does not exist. So they took the
Sure, it didn't happen, bro.
Yeah,
so they one thing is,
took the study down.
There's a difference between maybe what the EPA is looking for and what
the claim's false, right? It says every freshwater fish has dangerous levels of mercury. So while we found that every fish has levels of mercury, only 49% had dangerous levels of mercury.
Yeah.
Now, Tom and I, because we did this beforehand, we're redoing this for the live stream. We talked in depth about what is considered a safe level of mercury, and if you're, you know, an overprotective parent or a conscientious parent, whatever adjective you want to use, right, to smash that like button. If you're a parent who cares, then any level of mercury could be dangerous. But according to the definitions given by the government as what a dangerous level of mercury is, no, only 49%.
And you do, as like a parent and as an individual yourself, do need to be pretty respectful of your own physical size in adjunction to how much mercury you're intaking. Because a larger person theoretically would be able to like metabolize more.
Also, has a big difference depending on what age you are. Like if you're
exactly,
young,
if you're an infant or a child, you should be very limited. Yeah. Or if you're pregnant, because a lot of it gets transferred through to the baby, through the mother.
Here's what I was gonna say though. Also, is there's might be a difference in dangerous level from FDA to EPA. EPA might be testing for different reasons. So FDA would be for consumption. And so I didn't, what did you say? 3 parts per billion?
0.3 parts per million, ppm per million.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be 3 parts per 10 million? Yeah, so that doesn't sound like very much, but I'm actually not sure.
I mean, you know, cyanides, yeah. I don't know. I mean, fentanyl, doesn't that kill you with laughably small amounts of doses? So I'm not saying mercury's fentanyl, right? I'm just saying you don't need a lot of something to kill you.
Well, I mean, we've also talked about this before, though, is that all tuna has mercury in it, and it has an acceptable amount. You know, your body gets rid of it, and it doesn't really do any damage.
And we've talked about it on the live stream, right? Go check out the other videos that pregnant women actually have less mercury than normal American women, right? A claim we found to be false from RFK.
So, yeah, I just don't know if there's any difference between what the EPA is looking for and what the FDA is looking for.
Before all the conspiracy theorists out there are like, that 2009 EPA study doesn't exist. It might exist, it might not exist. I don't know, right? But here's, from the hhs.gov.
Once again, we welcome
all
come on and prove us wrong.
Yes, please. Or anyone, come on and explain this to us. We'd love it. But like this, so this website, this is a dead link as well. So I'm just wondering, $32 trillion in debt, how much of it is really maintaining the infrastructure of research studies?
The internet?
Yeah.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Most of it's going to highways in Iraq that get blown up the next day. It's kind of ridiculous.
But that way you can rebuild them.
Yeah. That way Halliburton makes shitloads of money.
Build it
all right.
back better.
And if you like conspiracy theories...
I was like, did I send you that article? Did I send you about the Halliburton deal? Like, all right, so that's going to definitely be an episode of how much money Dick Cheney made off of Halliburton. Like, I had no idea because I was like 12 at the time.
Also in the government who made the war. But anyway.
Wow. I've never even heard about this, so yeah, we'll have to have an episode.
Halliburton? They do a lot of construction and government contracts for the Army.
He just
a lot of general contracts, really.
He gave him he as vice president. He gave Halliburton like a multi-billion-dollar contract, and then left the vice presidency and became like the director of Halliburton, or went down on their board as a director.
Isn't our corruption hilarious?
That's disgusting.
See, the advisory recommendation to eat up to 12 ounces of a variety of fish and shellfish per week violates standards of accuracy, completeness, and comprehensive because, if allowed, it will cause the vast majority of women and children to increase exposure to mercury to the point of exceeding safe levels of mercury. Yeah, so again, the FDA is saying don't eat a lot of fish.
I don't have much concern about that because it's not very popular in America. But what I do want to point out is that Japanese people eat a shitload of fish.
Okay, so
and they're also very healthy. So.
And South Korea, we found.
Hold on,
Tom, you want to talk about this?
Well, we'll wait half a second and we'll go down to claim 7 and continue arguing because this is kind of what we did, and then we kind of came back and we jumped around of like true, false, true, false, true, false.
Okay.
So,
yes.
In Japan, 18%, slightly over 1 in 6.
Hold on. Let's go ahead and say this.
That was a specific study based on a small place with an acute
two specific studies.
An acute poisoning.
Yes. Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. For the editing,
it's not normal fish.
We gotta recap 5 and 6 real fast.
Yeah.
As far as claim 5 and 6 went together. As far as claim 6 goes, 2003 FDA and National Academy of Science published a 5-year study showing every freshwater fish had dangerous levels of mercury. We found that to be technically false, but also outright false. And the reason why we're specifying that is because we did find a 2009 EPA study that surveyed randomly 500 freshwater lakes and reservoirs, and they all had mercury. However, only 49% had what's considered dangerous levels of mercury at 0.3 parts per million. So semantics as to what is a dangerous amount of mercury, right? But this is just false. This wasn't by the FDA and the National Academy of Science. It was by the EPA. And the EPA showed that it had levels of every freshwater fish had levels of mercury, but not dangerous. So technically false and also false. Claim 7. What were we talking about here? 1 out of every 6 women had enough mercury to harm babies and create intellectual deficiencies. So what were we saying about this, guys?
Well, we were kind of talking about the potentially Asian cultures and their how much fish they eat. But the claim for this one, I guess, we'll just kind of start and go through it because we'll come across it again. 1 in every 6 women are thought to have enough mercury to harm babies and have intellectual deficiencies. And in a somewhat small study, I guess. There's a 18%, or it is actually true for a study that was in Japan. However,
But-
in the United States, the numbers are currently, it's false.
Well, the thing about that is that 1 in 6. So it was false because I think 11 out of 12 are without any effects at all.
Yeah.
But the Japan study was specific to an acute poisoning from industrial waste. In a small town, it only affected one town. There was I think some factory was polluting the water right next to the town. So all the fish that they were catching was coming from this. It's kind of like if you had a town and then everybody was catching fish out of the radioactive runoff. You know what I mean? Cool.
Right.
Like you shouldn't have been eating those fish, and it's not across the board. And the point of that was to show that even in like a situation where they had like a really big problem that they knew about and like came in and checked it, and there was a big leakage from a plant nearby, to the point that it was very noticeable. Only in that situation was it 1 in 6.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
certainly not broadly across the board, and not in America.
And not just from eating regular fish that aren't swimming in nuclear waste.
Yeah.
Or runoff.
For instance, I think there's from the same article, there was another one with contaminated seeds in Iran, and that had similar results. So, yeah, if you have an acute, like if you drink a vial of mercury, you're not going to be okay. Yeah. But if you eat fish out of the ocean, that doesn't have a problem.
If you eat a normal, normal American diet level, if you eat an FDA recommended amount of fish out of the ocean, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
At best, I think people eat it maybe once a week. For the most part, unless you're like a pescatarian
or a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Canned tuna is a good source of
fish,
protein. It's pretty cheap.
Yeah. Tilapia.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't got nothing against fish. It's just not very common.
I mean, they're crappy pets. They're terrible. They're terrible at fetch.
My parents have some saltwater fish. They're pretty
So
cool.
is this empirically false? I would love for him to explain, where is this coming from? Like, this is
made it up for dramatic effect.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but he doesn't seem like a Biden to me. No, I'm just kidding. That was a low blow out of nowhere. That's just because, have you heard? Like, Biden said like 5 ridiculous lies this last week. I was like, why are we fact checking RFK? Let's fact check the president here. He has not declared climate change a national emergency. He lied to the Weather Channel. That's such a weird thing to do, right? Like, going on and being hyperbolic on Joe Rogan, we can talk about the merits and morals of it. But being the president of the United States and going on the Weather Channel and then lying to their face and be like, no, we've declared climate change a national emergency. And she's like, have you? And he's like, you got a bug on your on your shoulder. And she's like, oh, thanks. But have you? And dude, it's so awkward.
Was it the same fly that was on Mike Pence or whatever the heck that was?
Oh yeah, wasn't that was Rudy Giuliani, I think, right?
No, Mike Pence. Mike Pence had a dude. My favorite thing is that Mike Pence on the fly on Mike Pence was like someone created a Twitter account like instantly, and it blew up, and that was like the best 12 hours of Twitter ever. It was so great. All right, let's talk about claim 8 here. Mercury levels. Oh, let me. I'll insert the clip. Mercury levels in fish came from coal plants and kiln plants.
Yes,
now,
100%
we
true.
found this to be true. I'm sure it comes from other places, as in, like, thermometers.
But predominantly, this is a huge contributor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, go nuclear, not coal. It's fucking dirty.
Yeah.
Gives all kinds of people all kinds of problems, especially if you're in like one of the mining towns.
And then there's like a blatant mercury health effects thing there too that's neat to look at.
The coal plants are killing us.
Yeah.
So, and just for
Is
those
Mercury always
just for
gonna
those listening, anthropogenic, human caused sources of mercury to the atmosphere are largely from combustion of materials that contain mercury, with coal combustion, electric utility boilers, and commercial/industrial boilers being the largest source in the United States, according to a 1997 EPA report to Congress. Let's see. This also talks about, however, the main source of mercury in the environment is from human activity through coal combustion, electrical power generation, and industrial waste disposal. Once mercury is released into the environment, it can be converted to a biological toxic in the form of methylmercury by microorganisms found in soil and the aquatic environment. So, true.
Yep.
All right,
Wow.
that was a little close there. We were like, two falses in a row. RFK. But let's go ahead and we'll move on to claim 9. There is
This
no
one was
place.
one of those that we.
Well, yeah, 9 is like
read it
5
out.
and 6, basically.
Yeah, so I hate number 9.
Yeah.
I hate claim 9. For anyone watching us, do not judge us on claim 9. Comment down below. What do you think? Because the merits here, it gets into parenting, and that's because, like I've talked about in previous episodes, I'm about to be a dad. My beautiful, beautiful wife is 38 weeks pregnant. Like she could pop it like any moment. I gotta go. Right? Can't ever have more than 2 beers because I gotta be ready to drive at any time.
Look what
That's
happened
how much you're gonna. She. No.
One for the road. Come on.
One for the road. Just a roadie. No, not at all. No. I'm so excited to be a dad, right? But so I get, like, as I morph into this thing we call being a parent, thanks to Allstate, I am becoming my dad, whether I like it or not.
Good luck. I can say.
There are parents, and like some parents are super chill, and they're like, "Hey, go play in the woods," right? And some parents are like, I'm gonna like have a drone follow you as you're riding your bike because I'm a helicopter parent, right?"
Yeah.
So let's get into claim 9. There is no place in North America where you can go out and eat fish, right? You're talking about catching fish, right? So like, if you don't want to consume any mercury, then this is true. As the EPA study we looked at before showed that 500 out of 500, all the fish have some levels of mercury. Only 49% had dangerous levels of mercury, or levels of mercury that were considered dangerous because they were more than the 0.3 parts per million per standards of the U.S. government. So it depends on the parent, right? Like if you don't want them to eat any mercury, then, well, one, they can't eat any fish in general, right? Whether they go out and they catch it in a pond, or if they go eat some sushi at Benihana's. I don't know if Benihana's has sushi. I've never eaten there, right? But like there's mercury everywhere. So it depends. If you're a parent who doesn't want their kid to consume any mercury, then no, there is nowhere you can go out and eat a fish. So I don't know how you call this true or false, but it's definitely false, because like I've eaten fish in North America. We all have, and we're all still breathing. We're all still alive.
Technically false, and also like I think it depends also the lake. Like if you go to a lake far away from a coal plant, I'm sure you could get something better. Like if you were out.
No. This was random. This was random. If we're gonna trust the science and trust the scientists and believe in the math, then you have to believe that these were actually randomized lakes. So the location of the coal wouldn't matter.
So it's not random.
No, I'm talking about the EPA study. He said no lakes, and the EPA study surveyed 500. Look, if I said everyone.
Was it 500 lakes around coal plants?
If I said, it was 500 random. It was 500 random lakes, so it wouldn't matter if they were close to coal plants or not.
Well, they might have a bias in their study, like things that are closer to cities. Anyway,
that's true. That's why I was saying, are we going to trust the science, or we're not going to trust the science? Like,
I see a map of the United States of where the 500 lakes are, and it should be fairly well evenly distributed across, I would imagine.
You would hope.
It
also says North America.
Wait,
though.
why? The lakes aren't evenly distributed.
You could find somewhere in the middle of nowhere, Manitoba, or go ice fishing in the North Pole area of Canada, and I'm sure that would have much less.
Right, but also I want to go back to Tom's concern here. You'd like to see a map where they're evenly distributed, but lakes and reservoirs aren't evenly distributed across the United States.
Sure.
So that's something to keep in mind. So that's something to keep in mind, right? You want to see a proportion, right?
Yeah. But like a fairly spread, not like in city clusters, but like it probably would be. That's tough. Yeah.
They have to go where the water
Everyone
goes.
builds around water, so we've just defaultly affected all of the water.
So, claim 9. There is no place in North America where you can go out and eat fish. We found it to be false. I had fish and chips last week. I'm still breathing. Let's move on. Claim 10. RFK lobbies the EPA to reduce mercury. Now, we found this to be plausible. We're going to go ahead and show you why. There's this YouTube video here. I'm not going to play it for you guys, but you guys can look at it here.
For just $67, you can make as many videos as you want, and you never...
I have YouTube Premium, but not on this account. So we were already watching this.
It's actually switched over as well.
This is really good. This is Environmental Health and Democracy with RFK Jr., the University of California Television, UCTV. Right, but basically, we found this to be plausible. I didn't know this before doing the research.
But records, but yeah, he was pretty active in this.
Did you know Obama almost made RFK Jr. The head of the EPA?
That would have been nuts.
Let's see, RFK too controversial for the EPA. So, some energy and environmental lobbyists are worried that Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s controversial past would thwart. Thank you, Politico.com, for an excellent use of the word thwart there. Would thwart his Senate confirmation if President-elect Barack Obama tapped in to be the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was primarily energy. It doesn't seem very pro coal or anything like that.
Can you imagine what kind of different America we'd be in right now if Obama put RFK as the head administrator of the EPA? I'm saying this as someone as an ignorant person, I have no idea what the outcome would be. If you are more educated on the fact than I, or you have some kind of idea like what America would look like today, comment down below or tweet at us, because I have no idea. It would be interesting, right? It'd probably be better than putting an oil lobbyist as head of the EPA, right? So I have no idea what it would look like, but it would be interesting, right? Could probably do more push-ups. I don't know how that would affect the EPA, but it would be a strong suit. So we're gonna say that's plausible that he reached out to the EPAs, right? He was looked at heavily by Obama to be a head administrator of the EPA. But let's go ahead and recap this real fast. Thanks, guys, so much for joining us for claims 6 through 10. As we discussed before, you can check out the whole video in the description down below. For claim 6, 2003, the FDA and the National Academy of Science published a 5-year study showing every freshwater fish had dangerous levels of mercury. We found that to be technically false and outright false. We did find a really interesting study of the EPA in 2009, where they randomly surveyed 500 freshwater lakes and reservoirs, and they all tested positive for mercury. However, only 49% had what's considered dangerous levels of mercury at more than 0.3 parts per million. So that's false. Moving on to claim 7. 1 out of every 6 women with have enough mercury to harm babies and create intellectual deficiencies. We found out to be absolutely false. Not only is that not true, but pregnant women have less mercury than non-pregnant women. We did find some interesting case studies with Japan, but that's very select, and here specifically RFK talks about American women. Claim 8, mercury levels in fish came from coal plants and kiln plants. We found out to be absolutely true, backed up by science and the EPA. Claim 9, there is no place in North America where you can go out and eat fish. Again, it's down to semantics. How much of a protective parent are you, right? If you don't want any mercury, then no, you can't go out and eat fish anywhere. Not at a freshwater lake, not at Benihana's, not at Walmart, okay? But if you want to be able to eat fish and not die due to mercury poisoning, there's a good chance your local lake can supply that fish for you. Last but not least, claim 10. RFK lobbies the EPA to reduce mercury, found to be plausible through all the research we've done and will be doing. Make sure to like and subscribe to catch all of it. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you guys in the next video. Woo. All right. Thanks so much, guys, on the live stream. We appreciate it so much. We're going to go ahead and move ahead to... Oh, let me just get rid of this. Claims 30.
All of our few viewers that we got watching. Thanks, guys. Thanks
we appreciate it. It'll grow, and then...
How many?
A couple.
And then for all those, what's really great is we'll be editing that down to a incredibly YouTube-friendly algorithm, digestible 10-minute segment with fun edits and stuff, so you can watch all that, share with all your friends, catch all the highlights. Let's move on to claims 33 through 38. Again, we got to do the intro for the video, for the Meat to Potatoes video. So let's go ahead and do that now. Do you guys have anything before we begin? Any thoughts on the last claims?
I thought we were doing 27 to 32.
No,
We already did those. Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yes, we did. And where can you find those? On our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thoughts? What are your thoughts on 6 through 10, guys?
I mean, mercury's bad. Don't eat a lot of it, but like if you just have tuna every now and then, you're probably okay. Yeah.
I mean, it'd probably be unacceptable
if you're pregnant. Try to ingest less.
If you thought if you walked around thinking mercury was 1,000 times more dangerous than lead, which we found out to be false, then yeah, every fish is probably just cyanide. But that's not a true axiom.
You know what? Maybe he's just an idiot. I just realized that if he thinks it's 1,000 times more deadly than it is.
No, I think he's.
And then also he's looking at it and like any amount is like just completely deadly.
So I don't know if you knew this. Do you know he had mercury poisoning?
No wonder. Mercury, he just hates this stuff.
Yes, intellectual damage.
No, I'm not.
Autistic from mercury poisoning.
Wait a second.
Oh my God, we cracked the case.
Wait, I thought I read he. We'll probably have to edit this out. Hold on a second. Robert De Niro and RFK have joined Fox.
That's hilarious.
Yo, I'm pretty sure I read this. Maybe it's a fever dream.
Maybe you dreamed it.
Yeah, maybe it's a fever dream.
Give me 2 seconds. Melissa's up from her nap. I just want to say something.
Say 6 feet. 6 feet. She has COVID. They both been vaccinated. Maybe it was just an article about RFK talking about mercury poisoning. I don't. Well, I would say this is awkward, but I guarantee this has happened to everyone in the world. You're like, oh no, I read this online, and then like you go to Google it, and you're like, you can't find it at all. You're like, all right, well, maybe this didn't happen.
It did happen.
No, yeah, no, the deep state is no. This is
at least YouTube will have a reason for banning us now.
Yeah, now I'm spreading actual misinformation. Yeah, this is I almost want to cut and go offline to go check my search history and be like, what is happening here?
We'll check it out. Get it on the next episode.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's what editing's for, right? Like, oh, if I can find anything, this will be included. If not, this is definitely not going to be included at all. You guys ready to move on to the next? Kennedy is the chairman of the Children's Health Defense and anti-vaccine advocacy group. He joined in 2015, formerly known as the World Mercury Project.
Mm, 33 and 34 are the same claims.
Are they? That's always fun. That's the problem. That's the problem with, like, we wrote it all down.
Literally the same claim.
Are they? Good.
Let me see. No, 33 is a different claim.
It's one off because of.
But didn't we already do this? Oh yeah. Okay.
Slide numbers.
Okay. DTBC.
So it would be slide 34, I guess.
Okay.
No, so I don't think he had mercury poisoning. I guess I just
no,
misread
I think we did that
completely.
We did this one. We did slide 34 in the previous with 32 because it was the same.
Oh.
Yeah.
That might have just
33 and 34. Slide 33 and 34 are the same, and so, which would be claims 32 and 33.
Okay.
That's why 34 is separate. So I'll just delete this.
Oops.
Claim 34. Vaccines are not subjected to true placebo-controlled trials.
So this is claims 34.
It is 34, yeah.
All right. So well, we'll need to. All right, hold on.
It's the same as 33, though.
I gotta do the intro real fast.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see. Claim 33 equals claim 34. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Hey guys, we'll try to try that with less laughing. Serious.
Just a little serious.
We'll do it live. No, I'm just kidding. Bill O'Reilly. Hey guys, welcome back to Factory Act here on the Polterguys channel. I've got Patrick with me here. Hey, how you doing, Patrick?
Heyo.
Oh, can we get a big roar from the panda Tom? How you doing, Tom?
Meow.
All right. Well, that's
good.
that's not the only twist you're going to be hearing today as we discuss claims 34, 33 and 34 through claims 38 on Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He went on the 1999th episode of the Joe Rogan Experience and said some just wild stuff. And then he was offered, people, Dr. Hotez et al. Were offered up to $2.5 million in charitable donations to come on the air, have a conversation, debate Robert F. Kennedy on the Joe Rogan Experience. And they didn't do it for $2.5 million. With inflation, you'd think people could be using this donation money right now. But no one stepped up to the plate. So we are doing what millennials do best. And we're researching it ourselves. We're just going to do it on our own. Right? So let's go ahead and jump into this. Vaccine, like we were talking about before, claims 33, pretty much the same as claim 34. And that's because we were typing this out.
32 and 33 are the same.
Oh, claims 32 and 33 are the same.
Which we already covered.
Okay, and the last video. All right, you can find that in the last one there. All right, awesome. Yeah. And that's just due, if you want to see the whole video, it got removed from YouTube, but we'll put it on Twitter and hopefully some other places, right? But basically, we listened to the whole podcast live on air, and then we just took notes, and we wrote down these claims, and sometimes these claims got duplicated because they were just so wild, like Tom.
Well, then also, two people copied the same claim.
Yeah, that's what we wrote down. We're like, what? What did he just say? Yeah, so we appreciate you guys sticking around for this in our bare bones budget. We are not doing this for money.
We have a budget?
Care.
What?
No. Yeah, the budget is your night. That's all it costs. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us again. Let's go ahead and jump into claims 34. Patrick, will you do us the honors?
Vaccines are not subjected to true controlled trials. Now, there's the only one problem with this is what true is, which he never explains. But the first, like one of the first polio vaccine trial, 1955 Salk vaccine field trial, placebo-controlled. Also, more recently, COVID-19 trials, placebo-controlled. So I just looked up, after I found both of those, I stopped looking, because 2 trials, placebo-controlled, verifiable.
I mean, yeah, that's what proof by contradiction is. All right, he got in trouble before, right? When you use those absolutes, those damn sits. When they use those absolutes, they get in trouble. There's everys and there's alls. All you need is one contradiction to prove that statement to be false. Now, he talks about in the podcast placebos. So there's definitely maybe some manipulation around it, right? But to say that they're not subject to, well, what does true placebos mean?
Right.
So
what I said. There's the only thing that's a qualifier. He said it but never explained it. So maybe he only thinks it's a true placebo if they were wearing a red hat on the day.
Well, let's see. So the Salk vaccine field trial was a randomized placebo-controlled trial. Okay. So then, this isn't going any further. Yeah. Well, but how? Yeah, what was the placebo though? Like, was it a true placebo? So like a true placebo would be like
there is placebo and there's not placebo.
Yeah. So in the podcast, if you remember, he talks about how they had a placebo group, but then they just told the placebo group, and they gave them like the medicine.
The COVID.
Yeah.
Vaccine?
So the National Institute of Health says concepts of true and perceived. Oh, that's placebo effects. So a placebo. So according to the Massachusetts General Hospital, a placebo-controlled trial. Zoom in here. A placebo-controlled trial is a trial in which there are 2 or more groups. One group gets the active treatment, and the other gets the placebo. Everything else is held the same between the 2 groups, so that any difference in their outcome can be attributed to the active treatment.
Right.
So I guess it'd be really hard to go through and look at every trial.
It doesn't matter because he said they are not, and they are. I mean, there's a lot of vaccine placebo trials. So.
Well, can we find? Let's just find one more
also,
than
I'm pretty sure,
abstract.
Did I put it on here? I think it's part of the CDC schedule, like when you're trying to get approval.
Yeah. It's good science to use placebo trials. Let's see.
Yeah. Just to make sure you're not.
I mean, that's why they did it with the COVID trials.
Yeah.
See, in an ongoing multinational placebo-controlled observer-blinded pivotal efficacy trial, we randomly assigned persons 16 years or older, of age or older, in a 1-to-1 ratio to receive 2 doses 21 days apart of either placebo or the BNT162b2 vaccine candidate, 30 picograms per dose. Micrograms? I can't remember the 2. That is RNA. For the results, a total of 43,548 participants underwent randomization, of whom 43,448 received injections, 21,720 were BNT, and 21,728 were placebo. Pretty similar. There were 8 cases of COVID with an onset of at least 7 days of the second dose among participants assigned to receive it, and 162 among those assigned to placebo. Among 10 cases of severe COVID-19 with onset in the first dose, 9 occurred with placebo recipients. All right, yeah. So that's all we need is one. I'm just gotta make sure it was a a true placebo test. That's the thing. I want to read through the methodology. If we can just prove one methodology is true, then we'll be good.
Yeah.
Trial procedures. This is the fun, boring, quiet part where we're all reading enthusiastically.
Yeah.
So, in brief, the safety population includes persons 16 years of age or older. A total of 43,448 participants constituted the population of enrolled persons injected with the vaccine or placebo. The main safety subset, as defined by the FDA, with a median of 2 months of follow-up as of October 9, 2020, consists of 37,706 persons, with the reactogenicity subset consisted of 8,183 persons. Going on through, the safety analysis included all participants who received at least one dose of BNT or placebo. The findings are descriptive in nature, but not based on formal statistical hypothesis testing. Well, that's fun. After analysis of the first primary efficacy endpoint included participants who received the vaccine or placebo as randomly assigned, had no evidence of infection within 7 days after the second dose, and had no major protocol deviations. This illness rate of placebos.
Here's a.
Well, this looks to be legit.
Here's a reporting on the Salt field trials. By the conclusion of the study, roughly 440,000 received one or more injections of the vaccine. About 210,000 children received a placebo, consisting of a harmless culture media.
Perfect.
Interesting.
And 1.2 million children received no vaccination and served as a control group.
Rough.
So there you go. I mean, I don't know what
Nope, that's it. That's enough for me.
Yeah.
All I need is one. All right, so that's just false.
Yep.
Again, feel free to come on.
False as
RFK.
above, 35, same claim almost. I think he actually said this as a separate claim, but you know.
We'll insert the claim here, so you can hear it yourselves. But it's vaccines are the only type of medicine not subject to placebo, but they are. I'd love for him to explain that in more detail if he could elaborate what exactly he means, because we
34 and 35 could have been
placebos.
different if 34 was true, but 35 isn't.
No.
Or 34 isn't, so therefore 35 isn't.
Unless true placebos means that they all wore red hats. Which you said before. Moving on. Claim 36. Tom, you want to read this one for us?
Yep. Vaccine companies lobbied for full immunity against vaccines in the Reagan administration. They are potentially losing $20 of downstream liability for every $1 of current profits in vaccines. So that's kind of wild to think about. You're potentially exposing yourselves to $20 in liability for every dollar you're making today.
Well, so here's the thing about that is that liability doesn't mean that you. I think that's just potential liability, and I wouldn't be
potential liability. Yeah,
right?
You're right.
So let's say you sell a vaccine for $1 to 1 million people, and then one person sues you for $20, and then so every vaccine is then potentially worth $20 of liability. But I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Fair.
I wouldn't be surprised if they said that, whether or not it's true. I couldn't find any quotes specifically saying that, but the link I posted here to a New York Times article article.
Yeah, I've got
at
it
the
pulled up.
time. Yeah, there was substantial deficiency in the vaccine plan. Mr. Reagan, yeah, Reagan wasn't even like, and it says came after heavy lobbying in favor of the bill.
Right.
He wasn't even sure about it, but it seems like he was more pressured into it, which, I mean, obviously happens when you're lobbying. That's kind of the whole point of it.
Yep.
So now instead of the companies being liable, the country is, which is kind of stupid. But yeah, no shit that corporations want to have less liability and lobbied for it.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's still weird, right? Like we're gonna make this drug, and
It's a
then
weird
like
thing, I think.
if there's any problems with it, that'd be like what if Tesla's like, we're gonna make this car, and if there's any
Meanwhile-
problems with the cars, it's on the
Yeah.
government's fault. You guys have roads.
There's just too much liability.
There's too much liability
Yeah.
to make these cars
The thing-
safely.
The thing that's also fucked up is that they'll be like, well, the free market just rules everything, and then, you know, then they pull shit like this.
And then it's lobby. Yeah, the free market
Yeah.
doesn't let us lobby like we want to.
Yeah.
Wink.
The government, everybody should take the risk unless we're making profits.
Yeah, exactly. It's like trading, right? It's like the government's like they'll take zero of the risk of your trade, but they'll take they'll take 25 to 30% of your capital gains. They'll take your profit as capital gains taxes without any of the risk.
That's fucking communist. What just happened? The government paying for market failures.
And this is how we get our second strike on YouTube.
Reagan is a communist.
Yeah.
Facts.
Reagan a communist. There's our clickbait title. All right, let's go on. Claim 37. Supreme Court upheld statutes that drug companies are free from liabilities for every dollar in profits. Phrases include unavoidably safe.
So
We found this to be true.
Yeah, it was true. If you follow this link, it talks about the court case. However,
That's kind of
unavoidably-
crazy.
yeah, well,
This says
it
no.
goes into this here. Let's see. It's the idea of unavoidably safe doesn't have anything to do with the Supreme Court's opinions on the vaccine or declaring it to be unavoidably safe. It's about prior law cases and then tension of the law for some products. Like for here, my point was, if you think of cars, dynamite, rat poison, all those things are unsafe, but they still have a good thing that you can use them for. Like dynamite
fentanyl
is not safe.
No.
Yeah. But
Right.
we need it for certain situations. So
Look at
it
this.
would make sense in those cases to have some sort of barrier of liability, and they were just upholding the prior decisions of the Vaccine Act, which allows for that.
A couple things. This is 2023. Okay, this article here. All right. This post was liked more than 1,100 times in 2 days. That is far from going viral for any means, right? But if you click on the direct link, it takes you here. It says false information reviewed by independent fact checkers. I don't even know what it is, right? But I want to get your thoughts. This says CY, right? And then down here it says C post. Should these be flipped? Like, maybe it's just like the format.
You should see why that this is independent. Like,
but shouldn't I see the post before I see why it's false? Like, you're telling me this is false. Like, if I told you it's a bad movie,
why it's false before you see the post.
Why? Let's see why it's false.
Because how would you know?
It says an error occurred.
When you're reading it?
So
if you press post, you won't be able to check why afterwards.
Well, it says if vaccines are truly safe, then how is it that the Supreme Court declared them unavoidably unsafe? Right.
Okay,
so now I see the post.
Yes, that the Supreme Court didn't declare them.
Well, so now what's great about Twitter or X, right, is like they have like the community notes below it, right? So like, where is the option? So now that I've seen the post, if I want to learn more about the post, where is the option to click on it? I can't. I have to like. It's gone now. This is like inherently.
You'll have to
It's
refresh the
yeah.
page.
It's back assward, right? That's all I'm
It
saying.
is.
Yeah,
Let
they
me
should,
see
they
the
should have
post
it there.
and then tell me why the post is wrong. Don't be like, this post is wrong. You want to see what it is? Like, that's weird, right? Like, see why. Like, oh, and then you don't even fucking, then an error occurs. You can't even see why.
Well,
It's
I'll
not
tell you
true.
why, and it's because they didn't declare it to be. It's not an opinion of theirs. It has to do with legal definitions.
Yeah.
prior-
Instead, it's being used as part of a legal argument as a reference to a specific passage in a legal publication.
So it doesn't really have anything to do about vaccines. I mean, also,
No.
why would you listen to the Supreme Court anyway? They're lawyers, not doctors.
Very true, very
But
true.
yeah, that is true. They did uphold that statute.
Also, why would you listen? Why would you listen to RFK? He's a lawyer. He's not a doctor.
He's not a doctor. That is a big point of that. A lot of people say is like, why are you listening to him for vaccine advice when he's not a doctor? But
and I like to point out, we're not
check it out.
listening to RFK, right? We're listening to a podcast where RFK went on and said some wild things, and then no one stepped up to the plate.
Is that we don't believe him and we're going to check it out? Is it true? Do I trust RFK? No.
I like to have the opinion of I'm just curious, and he said some really cited stuff, and I want to look at it.
Well, right, but I don't trust him. It doesn't mean I'm just gonna be like, oh, that is true. I'm gonna say,
I'm not just gonna blindly agree, but yeah.
And neither are you guys. Thanks so much for listening. We would be here without you, to be honest. I'm only doing this for selfish gains. I'm doing this to figure out like what's going on with these vaccines. Like, should I be worried with my daughter coming to the world in less than 3 weeks? But we really appreciate you being here. Right, so like I'm so glad you're joining us on this journey. I'm sure there's a ton of concerned parents and just curious minds out there. We are going over more than 160 claims that RFK made, so make sure to subscribe because obviously you can tell we have a long way to go. Now, speaking of, let's move on to the next one. Claim 38: vaccine injuries are very rare.
Right, this one's true.
All right, let's go ahead and insert this claim.
What would you say is very rare?
Well, hold on. Let me insert the claim so we can hear exactly what he's talking about.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. So what were we saying?
Yeah, so if you take... the only thing I could find is that if you looked at how they might be misidentified as SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, all of SIDS is 153 per 100,000. I think that was in 1990 or something, or it might have been this year. But that's 1 out of 653, and that's not what I would call like maybe very rare. I mean, I guess it's pretty rare. But total vaccine injuries that were reported out of 6 million doses, there were 7,000 compensable claims, which is just like if you get a vaccine and then you are injured, you will get money from the government. That's how the laws work that we just talked about. Mm-hmm. And so they don't really pass any sort of judgment on whether or not it was. It's just like if you have this, they have like a whole file. If you go to this link here, it tells you what the injuries are and what the payout is, etc., etc. That's 1 in 700,000 people, or 700,000 doses, I guess. So I would say that is exceptionally rare.
1 in 700,000.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah. To quote the paper here for a little more context. Blah blah blah. This means for every 1 million doses of vaccine that was distributed, approximately 1 individual was compensated. Right, and that's one of the things Robert F. Kennedy talks about is like on the podcast is that what is the safety trade off, right? Like if one person dies to save 1 million people, is it worth it? Right. Yes, probably.
Distinction. You know how many people were dying of polio the flu, HPV.
Right.
I think we get into it later. Some of the ones. Oh yeah, it was polio. I think. Did we already get into it? Maybe later. We've completely eradicated.
Yeah.
4 out of 5 strains. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it saves a lot.
We talked about on a previous live stream, which the digestible bite-sized morsel will be coming out soon. Awesome. So we found this to be true. Let's go ahead and recap this real fast. As we talked about before, for the recap, as we're fact-checking Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on the Joe Rogan Experience episode 101. As we are fact-checking, how do I do this recap? I forgot. I just had a brain fart on how I do all the recaps. Welcome to the live stream. I guess in the words of Bill O'Reilly, we'll do this live. All right, guys, so let's recap claims 33, which is really claims 34. 338, real fast, claims 33 and 34, vaccines are not subjugated or are not subject. Let's do that one more time. Claims 33 and 34, vaccines are not subjected to true placebo control trials. We found out to be false. As well as 35, that vaccines are the only type of medicine not subject to placebo testing. That's also false. Claim 36, vaccine companies lobbied for full immunity against vaccines in the Reagan administration. We found that to be true. Claim 37, the Supreme Court upheld statute that drug companies are free from liabilities for every dollar in profits. And the phrase did include unavoidably safe. It was true, but the phrase unavoidably safe was in the comments, not directly from the Supreme Court. They were quoting someone.
It's a legal term.
It's a legal term, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. And then claim 38, vaccine injuries are very rare. That was true. We found that with every 1 million doses of vaccines given, there was one claim filed. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
One claim compensated.
One claim. Oh, thank you for that distinction. One claim compensated. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Join us next time as we dive into claims 39 through 44.
Woo.
All right. It is 7:47. Do we need to wrap this up tonight, Timothy?
Yeah, if we could, that would be nice.
That sounds good. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you. This is
are we coming back tomorrow or what?
I'd love to. We'll talk about that off air. We'll get the scheduling down. Real fast, I just want to wrap it up. Say thanks so much for joining us tonight, guys, as we recapped claims 6 through 10, and then we jumped ahead through 33 through 38. If you're curious about 11 through 22 or 11 through 32, they're already on the YouTube channel as live streams, and I will be editing and getting them out as soon as possible. I'm just learning how to edit. I'm getting into it, but we're also in crazy nesting mode, trying to get ready for the baby and just hanging out with my very pregnant, very immobile wife. You should see. You guys met her. You would laugh if you saw how big she was right now. Did seen her try to get off the couch?
Send us a picture.
I will. I'm gonna try to record like a secret video. Maybe I'll post on here of her trying to get off the couch. But dude, I cannot wait. I can't wait to meet my daughter. We're so excited. We got the nursery all set up and everything. Fuck yeah. No, we're excited. All right, guys.
Nice.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We will be back. Same great place at a different but same amazing time, or same great time for you, depending. That's the great thing about YouTube.
Maybe a similar time.
Just click on it whenever. That's the best part, right? It's a DVR at your pockets. All right, bye, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. We're just trying to figure out the truth. Robert F. Kennedy, please come on. Just explain to us. Explain to us what's going on, and then just
don't lie.
As a possible fan, stop saying that mercury's 1,000 times more deadly than lead.
Yeah.
Bye.